Control is this big word, especially as humans, we feel like we need to have or we need to step into, because as I said, it gives us a false sense of safety. It gives us this feeling like, okay, if I can control this outcome, it will go in my favor. And if it goes in my favor, what does it mean? At least I won't be rejected. At least I won't be invalidated. At least I won't be abandoned. At least I won't be unsafe. For those of you who won the gauntlet, in the second week when we do core wounds and attachment wounds, remember what I told you. You can give me any fucking problem on the planet, any feeling that you have, and I can always break it down to three things: invalidation, rejection, and abandonment. And from there, your overcomplicated brain will be able to grow and expand it into such an intricate problem associated or attached to somebody else that you think, oh, they're the reason for my pain, or they're the reason for this, or them showing up or not showing up is what's causing me this. When in truth, it's all how you feel about yourself in that moment, how those three things really affect you. So wanting to control not having that fear makes us have this false sense of safety. Now, this leads us to the next process of what I think, this is, we talk about COVID, we talk about other pandemics. I think the biggest pandemic we have today is anxiety. Literally, everybody I think I read a stat somewhere that said almost 65% of all Americans or North Americans are going to be on anxiety medication at least at one point of their lives or another. And at least 95% of them have complained of having anxiety attacks or suffering from like moderate to mid-level to high levels of anxiety. Can you imagine what that level of like that population is? And imagine the children today, so exposed to technology, so exposed to social media, to TikTok, to all of those things, with that constant fear of, what am I seen like? How do I appear on this space where everybody can judge, validate, appreciate me? So now this space becomes my source of validation. This space becomes my source of my self-image, right? And so the less I'm liked, the more I'm afraid that I'm not going to be loved. And so now the more I want to control the situation by getting more love. So I want to create better videos. I want to show more skin. I want to be stuck to this and say, or like respond in a particular way. And so all of those things are an anxiety. Earlier, I used to think, and I said this on on the retreat when we talked about the manifestation workshop, and it was a beautiful workshop to talk about the present, which we're going to dive into in a little bit. But guilt and shame are emotions from the past that we have based on something that, happened or went through or we did or didn't go through. Anxiety, and here's what's really interesting. Anxiety is a fear of the future, right? Not working out in a particular way, not having a particular outcome. So it's like you can see the timeline of these two events. However, both of them, and this is what's so fucking powerful, both of those two things can actually only exist in one moment, and that's in the present. And the reason why is you cannot feel anxious tomorrow in this particular moment, right? You can't. You can say, oh, the chances are I probably will feel based on what's happened before, or I know this might happen, so I might feel anxious. But the only time you can actually feel anxious is right now. The only time you actually feel guilt and shame is right now. And the fact is that's because this is the only moment that we have. So this leads me to another point saying, well, the present is where we need to do all the work, where we are in this present moment. This is a big topic of like discussion and contention. And the reason why I focus on this a lot is because we beat ourselves up for what we haven't done yesterday, for not having a routine about meditation, breath work, anything, and saying, shit, I couldn't do it. And so we think to ourselves, I'm useless today. And so I can't do it even tomorrow. But the truth is, about anything, in this current moment, we can actually change everything. We can change all of what we have, including into the tomorrow. Now, here's the power of what anxiety is and why anxiety is not just about a future. What are we anxious about? Okay, we're anxious about not going to be like loved enough, approved of, finishing this project in time. Like take some of the surface level projects or things. I'm anxious about a flight I'm getting on. I'm anxious about my safety. I'm anxious about my kids' schooling. I'm anxious about all of those things. When you break it down and go deeper, it comes down to a reflection of you, whether you feel safe, whether you're trusting or not, whether you've been through something painful in the past. This is one of the biggest ones. Whether something like that you're worried about in the future is something that's happened before. For example, a lot of the people who suffer from OCD, or people who feel the need to have to control a certain situation or relationships or whatever, they feel that because their past had a complete lack of control. Their childhood environments were completely disorganized and chaotic. Their caregivers or their family or their support system was in such a chaotic space that it continuously made them feel dysregulated. So much so that in their present, they have to overcompensate and control so that they can feel that false sense of safety. So what we're really anxious about, and this is the most powerful statement, what we're really anxious about in our future is really about something that happened in the past. Now, the reason I say that is because you actually have no control of that event in the future, even though we think we want to control it. But we do have the ability to heal those moments in the past. And by healing those moments in the past, we are doing our best. And this is the golden nugget, to not take our pasts into our future. So by working on those past moments of what created massive dysregulation, what created massive trauma, what made us feel unsafe. So let's circle some keywords here. Unsafe is the biggest one, right, from the past. What made us feel unsafe, if we can go back, recognize them, and create a sense of safety there in those particular moments in itself, then we now are less afraid of those moments repeating in the future, because now we're feeling more safe around them. If we can go back to allow ourselves to witness the inner child, especially around those moments of past trauma, those past moments of where they're harboring emotions, haven't had a release, haven't been able to connect with the fears, the anxieties, the things they've actually been through. If we can go back and witness them, if we can go back and reparent them, then now we're giving ourselves the power to be able to say, I'm not going to bring my past into my future. And that's what really troubles us about the future. The anxiety we have for the unknown, this is what's so crazy, guys. It's actually not unknown. It's very known. It's very known from our past. And it's the fear of that very knownness that sucks repeating itself. That's what causes us the anxiety.
Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.